Hey, Mish here.
And this is Fox.
And it's time for Q&A. I think it's 24. Whatever, the spring break one.
Spring break Q&A. We got Girls Gone Wild.
Yep, he's behind the camera. So got a few questions, got a few things, got a little going on. And of course with Patreon Q&A, Patreons ask questions. Some ask 1, some ask 20. And bucking up a month, all you want. Go over and check it out if you feel like it. If you don't, that's cool, but it's cooler if you do. But regardless, please do like, share, subscribe here because YouTube interaction, you know the deal. You're on YouTube. We have some questions. We'll get to them. And we've been actually working on a lot of videos, so...
It's been a busy
few days.
Weeks. I think people in the comments have noticed too. A lot of appreciation for the extreme amount of videos pumping out a week. So
we're just gonna dive in. There'll be 2 versions. There'll be the YouTube edit coming out a little later, and there'll be a more raw Patreon edit coming out first. So depending on which one you're watching, that's what you're getting.
That's what you're getting. Well, let's start with question numero 1. AlexanderKrugs. I think that's how you say your last name. Guys, if I pronounce them wrong, don't hold me accountable. Hey, Misha.
YouTube never corrects pronunciation.
Okay. We'll just get canceled then. Hey, Misha.
I believe it's consoled.
Consoled. I should go to my Polish
Well,
voice.
actually...
I should do the Polish voice for this entire segment.
Can I go outside?
Hey, it was requested.
It was.
Question number 1 from AlexanderKrugs. Hey, Misha, I don't have any questions or really anything too important to say. I just wanted to let you know that I thoroughly enjoy your videos no matter what you talk about, and I always like seeing Jay, Fox, and anyone else you might be featuring in the channel. I hope Fox isn't discouraged from participating in videos from what some of the viewers may be saying. In my mind, in my mid-20s, I have been shooting for about 6 years, and I stick out like a sore thumb at my local gun club. I'm the youngest member and I know I get weird looks sometimes when they see my piercings and magazines that hold over, I'm not going to say how many rounds. So basically...
Knowing Bubba, over 3.
Over 3, yeah. Many of the older collectors always seem to remark how I missed out on the era of imports as they gloat about their Polytechs and SIG 5.5.0s.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they gloat about that, but they missed out on some sweet imports in the 60s. I missed out on the 80s, but got into the early. Every generation kind of has what it missed and also what it takes advantage of. That's why I've always said, try to focus on buying what's coming in now or has recently come in.
Right.
Because it's never going to be cheaper.
Challenge them to a push-up challenge. You said here you're in the military and you're in your mid-20s. See if you can pull-up them. Anyways, he goes on to say, I encourage anybody that is interested in firearms and of decent character to join the gun community, and I sincerely hope Fox isn't dissuaded by some keyboard warriors. Sorry for the long message. Keep doing what you're doing. As far as that goes, man, I've had haters since I was probably at birth, so I've never let anybody slow me down on my vision and what I enjoy about life, as I would encourage anybody that has people do that. Do your thing, man. And thanks for the support. That does mean a whole lot. And thanks for the question. Let's go on to question number 2 from SB. WTB SLR 106 FR or CR? Should they cost more than a SAM 5? Absolutely
not. Because the whole reason the SLR 106s and 107s were introduced back in 2006, I think it was to be the more economical alternative. And they were 700 something at the very low end, depending on which version, up to around 1100 for the most expensive, which were the URs. And the mill guns were a little more. Of course, the mill guns would go away. No. The stamp guns were, by intent, supposed to be cheaper.
A Bujet?
Yeah, I mean they have good barrels, but they're single hook triggers, not double. Stamped receiver versus milled, and I know SAM 5s have had a thing right now. It's supposedly fixed. Here's the thing: back in the day, there were lots of quote-unquote issues with the SLR 106s. Personally, I've owned like 3 of them and never really experienced the issues, but everyone's mileage can vary.
Correct. Thanks for the question, SB.
SLR 106CR.
Jump into question number 3 from Mark. He says, "Hello, Misha. Keep up the good work. I'm actually kind of impressed by your video output. Are there any AK gunsmiths that you would recommend? I live in the Indiana, and so far I haven't gotten good vibes from the guys I've talked to claiming to be able to do the AK work. I'm interested."
Yeah, I actually told him I was going to do this, and yeah, you can harass him. The only guy in Indiana that I would trust to really do it, and you just got to make him do it, is the Honeycook Industries Hover Mill that did the AM57s. He's done AK. His problem is he's a perfectionist, and I don't know. He can make so much money doing. He's got his FFL 07 manufacturing license in addition to gunsmithing, and he's former military. He's an electrician, very intelligent. He does amazing work. I've seen him fix things that no one else probably could have, and it's just getting him to do it. But he's right there in Indiana, so
Cool.
Bug him to do it, because he's the only one in Indiana I'd really want doing an AK build.
Yeah, and it looks like you wouldn't, depending on how close you are, wouldn't have to ship it. It looks like you said here, Mark wouldn't mind to travel some distance for some stellar work. So
I mean, yeah, it can't be that far. He's pretty centrally located, so.
Cool. Thanks for the question, Mark. Let's jump into number 4 with Eric Sennert. I think that's how you pronounce that last name. Do you have a Patreon for the personal channel too, Misha?
Yeah, and no, I don't. I just kind of tell people over there if they want to do it over here. Do you think it'd be worth it, guys? I mean, realistically, I just kind of figured one Patreon's kind of enough. But if you guys think I really should, maybe. But they're kind of a pain in the arse to set up because of the payment thing and linking to a thing. And
well, I mean, you've already got the OnlyFans on there too, and that's been picking up the majority of it.
Strangely enough, OnlyFans very easy to set up.
I know, it was weird.
Yeah, they don't actually deposit to your bank. They literally have a guy knock on your door at 1 a.m. with a bag of cash.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. It was the craziest thing.
Had the dollar sign on it and everything.
Yeah, you left it by your front door.
Actually, I think that might have been Bonnie Rotten last time.
It was. She came over.
Yeah. She's wearing a mask.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it was during pandemic times too. So.
True.
So, to be fair, the mask was needed.
But yeah, honestly, if you really think it's worth it, I'll look into it, guys. But it's enough for me to keep up with 2 channels and a Patreon and everything else and a business. So I've got enough logins every day that I was just kind of figuring if anyone wanted to support the personal channel, just sign up on the Mishaco Patreon. It's all the same bank account.
All the same thing.
Yep.
Thanks, Eric. Number 5, Appley C. He always asks some questions. He wants to know your thoughts on the brace, topic, and advice. Thank you.
And I think you probably asked that before I did those videos. I put up one more on the history of braces on this channel back when that happened. Over on the personal channel, again, there are at least 2 black boxes totally dedicated. So I'm just going to say check those out instead of me repeating myself. And I'm going to be honest, after kind of engaging in it for a month after it happened, I've kind of dipped out.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
You know, with everything going on, looks like the ghost gun thing is getting overturned in court. So if that goes, I think it's just a patience thing of let the courts
sort itself out.
And not to jinx us, but it seems like when gun stuff has gone before the courts, it more often than not goes in our favor because it's kind of in favor of the Constitution.
Right.
And we seem to have a pretty pro-Constitution court system, at least when you get higher up, you know, out of the circuit, you know, get to the appellate and obviously Supreme Courts.
Yeah.
So it's annoying, but I have faith that it'll get knocked out because it's wrong, and I still have to believe that our court systems will knock the wrong things down. Otherwise, we've got many big problems.
I will agree with that.
Very first shots out of the WBP Jack and 5.56. She worked.
How'd it feel?
Like an AK.
All right, back to CajunCatfish. He says if someone were to ask you to point them towards the highest quality available AK variant on the market today, either in stock or expecting restock at some point, what would you recommend?
I'll let you go first on that.
I've got two, but I'm going to go to the first one, and that's going to be as a Stava. I would go with, M70, M92.
Highest quality, huh? Not best value, but highest quality.
I mean, highest quality, I'd go WBP.
Okay,
but,
because it's
he says if someone were to ask you to point them towards the highest quality AK variant on the market
today,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, WBP, probably because it sticks out because being available. But, I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
If you want a classic AKM, that's really the one to beat now, outside of like a custom build or something. And I would say FB rate them. I've always had I think the WBPs probably slightly look better, slightly. Right. But the Barreals, they're battle tested. They've got a lot of modern features. The did he say import or just in general?
It sounds like he's saying in general because it says either in stock or expecting restock.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Cajun actually says I've been advising customers to go for the Barreel imports.
So. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, that sticks out. I do think this is a great value. That Wassers are just kind of middle now, neither hot nor cold.
Not wrong, but
wrong.
You really kind of get into when you say highest quality, I mean, I would also, when I have someone ask me what should be their first, even camera guy back here, his first AK was a Zastava just because mainly availability. Is it the highest quality? The WBP is obviously going to be it.
I don't think buying the highest quality for your first AK is a good idea.
No,
because if nothing else, you're setting the bar so high, you'll never be.
I think it's important to ask what the person's wanting. Are they just wanting an AK to have? Yeah, get a Zastava, get a Wasser. Or are they wanting to go out and do 10,000 round drills and go on, extraordinary adventures with it?
Yeah.
It's an AK is a tool just like.
I know. I'll say this. My feeling. I don't really consider it an AK because I think it's too good. It's its own thing. But the Galil Ace, I will mention it. It is a high quality gun. A lot of people want to call it an AK. I think it's different enough. AR mags, AR stock now. Right. I wouldn't call it an AK, but a lot of people would.
I still call mine are in the AK safe.
Yeah, fair play. I'm just saying.
I go to the AK safe. My Galils are in there. The ones that take.
Trying to think if there's anything else that's coming in currently, but of course, Kalashnikov USA, despite some hiccups last year, they seem like they're getting back on track, and we haven't had troubles out of them.
They've all been very reliable, but I still also would kind of push some imports and stuff.
It's more of a get it where you can thing on that. Not so much that the KUSA or even the PUSAs are bad. It's just hopefully we'll have both of those companies for years to come.
Right. Let's see what Cajun went on to say. They rival my Vepr FMs for apparent quality and surpass my Arsenal L or SGLs. He was saying that about the Brill. I'm sorry, I got lost.
Yeah. I would agree with that. The Brills are really very nice.
Really ends it with I enjoy Fox's contribution to the channel. I'm glad he's getting involved, and thank you. Well, appreciate the question, CajunCatfish.
KUSA, KR, one more time.
I really like this KUSA.
Let's see what Mark Clement has to say. Can we get a 12-month calendar featuring your cats and kalashnikovs?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yep, we're gonna do that, and kind of like a onesie or a Snuggie. We're gonna do a Snuggie with his cat logos with AKs and RPGs all over it.
I'm assuming he's like wanting a cat holding a gun or something.
Yeah.
That'd be great. We can match the cat to the gun they most identify with.
The calendar would be cool. Maybe some gear. Maybe
That's being serious. Yeah, that's something you've been pushing, and I'm the reason it's never happened, guys. I'm blind, so I can't. So much of merch is visual, even if you're just ordering it. So I'm totally down with it. Also, it just wasn't something I could pick. But now that COVID's over and people are, it's definitely a possibility, especially with the continued and more Patreon support.
Yeah. Throw in the Patreon stuff. I want to pitch some ideas, maybe some rough drafts going into summer and stuff. In the future, definitely some gear of some things, or maybe even a calendar. So
Yeah, because you've done stuff for your other unrelated projects. So yeah, he's worked on merch
and some stuff and merch and stickers and stuff. So.
But yeah, I actually do like the idea of a calendar. It sounds neat.
Yep.
Especially with cats.
Thanks, Mark. Let's see what William Sharp has up his sleeve. Any insight on the recent Romanian Cougar Wasser 3566 imports?
I mean, not much. They seem like the originals, and that's not a bad thing. The original actually goes all the way back. You had the SAR-3, which was basically 99 up through 2003. That was cool. It was a 5.56 gun. Fun thing is, back then, because those came in during the assault weapons ban, and the mags for them were post-ban, or at least they couldn't prove they were pre-ban. That's why Century modified AK-74 Bakelite mags to fire 223. But then when that gave way to the Wasser 3, which was introduced 2004, 2005, so really about the time the ban ended, they were able to ship them with the Romanian steel mag, 30 rounds, which was cool. And those were actually a Romanian copy clone of the German Uyghur mag, which was a weird project that East Germany tried doing in the very late 80s to make a 223 AK to sell to the West. That I really would like to have one because they look cool. There's been some clones done by like IO, but it was this weird hodgepodge German 223 AK that I really wish had taken off. But yeah, they're all connected there, so good mag. That was my short way of saying good mag. Otherwise, it's a standard Wasser 10. When they came in before, they didn't ever give them bayonet lugs, and it was kind of flip of the coin if you got a threaded barrel or not.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a Wasser 223.
He was wondering if these are recent manufacturers or are any of these going to be left over from the last?
They should be recent. Yeah, because the last ones weren't. The last batch is 2013. I don't think they held on to them for 10 years.
Cool.
No,
go ahead.
Then they never did like builds. Like there was the Wasser 1063 where they took PM63 military kits and they rebuilt them on semi-auto receivers. I never saw a Wasser 3 that was and those are called a PM97, the military version. I never saw a PM97 rebuilt onto a I think they were all just brand new purpose-built guns.
Okay. Well, do you know if these will have chrome line bores?
They should, yeah. Romania is real good about chroming everything, cold hammer forged as well. And it should be a 1 in 7 to us. 1 in 7 or 1 in 9, probably 1 in 7 though.
Perfect. Thank you for that question, William.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one. I used to not like 223 AKs, but
Kind of grown to like them.
Yeah, switched around. It's probably because you can't get 5.45 like you used to. And I love 760 by 39 shooting it, but that small high velocity is a boatload of fun too.
Yes, it is. Cool.
They're good. Uzi. Still works.
All right, Cav Trooper 19D. He says, or asks, why is the IMI Uzi Model A labeled the Model A when released to the public before any other Uzi releases? Was there already plans for a Model B when the Model A was released?
Well, yeah, and at least no company, because that was really Action Arms first, and it took a lot of convincing to get the whole thing going. So I'm pretty sure they didn't go through all that effort getting ATF approval to only do one gun.
Gotcha.
I mean, if you're going to do it, do it.
Right.
And, even if you just don't ever do any more, still a Model A, still works.
Model A.
Or maybe they were fans of the car, I don't know.
Yeah, the Ford really stole our hearts.
Yeah, the Model A, guys, was 1980 through 83, and then it was replaced by the Model B. And contrary to a lot of beliefs, the Model B wasn't harder to convert to full auto, nothing like that. It actually was an improved version. It had an out-of-battery safety, which is a good thing, and it had more easily adjustable rear sights. So, also a good thing.
He goes on to say, I know originally in prototype form it wasn't labeled Model A, and why I was wondering the whole Model A and Model B naming. Upon official release in the 80s, it was and is stamped Uzi Semi-Auto Model A Para 9mm IMI. Israel, as you know. What I'm asking is, was there always meant to be a Model B upon the release of Model A? Was the Model B supposed to be the upgrades that we know full-size Model B to have when the Model A was released?
I would almost kind of speculate something like that, because right as the Model A was coming to market, that's when the Mini Uzi was coming out, and the Model B does carry over some Mini Uzi features, and of course the Mini Uzi would come a few years later. So you almost have to wonder, if they knew they were going to incorporate, like, hey, we've got some stuff in the Skunk Works we're coming out with, because they were trying to rebrand themselves and update a bit to compete with the MP5 in the late 70s. So,
okay,
yeah, could be.
Such as the out of battery safety, more rounded ejector, easier to adjust sights versus the SMG sights on the Model A, etc. Or was the Model B supposed to be the Mini Uzi and maybe the Micro Uzi to the Model C? But Action Arms decided to change that naming structure after upgrading the Model A after the issue of the out-of-battery detonations, ?
Yeah, I don't know that. Honestly, I don't know that anyone does. I know, the Model A was based on the original Uzi SMG, and those were always open bolt. When you get to the Mini Uzi, while there were plenty of open bolt guns, they also started doing a closed bolt version, kind of targeted more for police, again, competing with the MP5. And that's where the out-of-battery safety system really came into play, was for the closed bolt guns. Funny thing about the Micro is it was an outgrowth of the Uzi pistol. It came first, and that was a semi-auto pistol, always intended for the civilian market. So the Uzi pistol, the semi-automatic version, came before the Micro, the full auto version with the stock. Yeah, and the Uzi pistol actually predates the Mini Uzi carbine too.
I've got the little Uzi IWI 22. I love shooting that little booger.
I like Uzi. I grew up in the era where Uzis were
they're still mine.
They were the thing. I really like the MP5, but if you made me choose, you can only own Uzi or MP. I'd have to go Uzi.
I would too, man. Just the
even though I know MP5 is probably a better gun.
It is a better gun.
But
you can do a little more with it.
I think what it is, the MP5 is better accuracy, ergonomics, but the Uzi is just bulletproof. Like, that's
just fun, bulletproof, and it just face it.
It's an end of the world. It's like, how do you break one?
Yeah, definitely. Cav says, thanks, Misha.
Sure. Yeah, we should do an Uzi video soon.
I'm feeling an Uzi video coming soon.
Consider that your $5 Patreon requested video that you definitely did request.
There you go. Question from Mike Bukovic, maybe? Out of all the guns you've been around, which is the most well-balanced in terms of recoil and muzzle rise? Has anyone struck a perfect balance for you?
Oh, yeah, we were talking about this the other night. That MR556, if it weren't just a little bit front-end heavy, but it does recoil very nicely.
Yes, it does. That there was two that definitely stuck out, that being one. But with having that hand stop out there, I've noticed that helps a lot of that front weight as well. Yeah. But I think that SIG DH3 I first did a review on is very well balanced.
Good, yeah. If you're thinking like 9mm, yeah, the MPX and its derivatives and all that, the copperheads, because of the gas piston, they are very.
Those are done up real well, and even that 223. The DH3 was a 223, but the copperheads.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
those are all set up very well balanced guns. So.
I really do like the SIG 5.5 guns for that because of how they are. Yeah, they got a little heavy, but the nice thing is the way they recoil is so smooth.
I will agree.
SIG 5.50. Held open.
All right, let's go to Ryan. He says, Misha, my question is on the SDS Import Lynx 12 shotgun. I have read a lot of positive reviews on them, and they seem very underrated. What are your thoughts on them? Also, how do you think they compare to the Russia Sega 12?
Incidentally, we recorded a video quite recently. I don't know if this is going to be coming out before or after that one, but yeah, we just did that. So check the Mishaco channel.
New video coming up.
But
good question. Really good question.
We couldn't figure it out, so we actually asked ChatGPT, which is better. I asked it if it just as good.
Just as good.
Yeah.
Turns out we do have another member of the channel called Chatbotter.
Everyone knows now. It's such a weird thing. It's fun though.
Man, it's like I catch myself just playing with it all the time.
How can you not?
It's so fun. The videos that these chat things are doing, or AIs are putting out, are hilarious, especially the Arnold Schwarzenegger ones. So. Yeah, good.
But that was something definitely worthy, and the video results were pretty interesting.
Yeah,
both on the ammo mag. Yeah, we pretty thorough. We did ammo mag, so yeah, check it out. Should be a lot of fun.
Yep, for sure. Thanks for the question, Ryan. Matthew Noble says, "Hey Misha, this is not really a question, but just a thought. If you are ever racking your brain for a video idea, how about a video on the many uses of an AK bayonet, like wire cutters, cleaning kit? Just a thought."
No, it's a good idea. Yeah, sure, why not? Because I've done AK bayonet videos, and what's funny is the AKM bayonet and the AK-74 were designed as multi-tools. Now the AK-47, it was an afterthought pig sticker because they originally designed the AK without a bayonet, and then they said, "Oh, we want one," so they kind of retrofit an SVT-40 bayonet to work with the AK, and that's why the original one's kind of clunky. But yeah, when they went to do the AKM and AK-74, they made it all kinds of fun things, and bored soldiers and inventive soldiers in the field find even more.
I've always used mine as a toothpick.
I am sure many Russians did too. And then many Russian dentists yelled at many Russian soldiers.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, thanks for the question, Matthew.
Sure. First shots out of the Lynx with Federal. Goes quick.
Keelan Ross says, couple of questions for you today. What are your favorite fast food chains?
That's not a question asked when we were about ready to go have lunch.
I'm starving.
Yeah, me too.
What's your favorite fast food chain?
You know what's funny is I don't eat a lot of fast food. It's just because we live in an area with that. But, on the road and stuff, I will say, and this is 100% serious, I won't eat McDonald's. Like, I've literally decided to not eat the McDonald's. Because I have so many friends, they'll crave McDonald's, and then after they eat it, they wonder why. And they keep doing it. Jay used to be bad about that. He'd be like, I need it. And then 2 hours later, he realized why he doesn't eat it often.
I think, to be fair, most all bad food will do that, no matter what.
Yeah.
The McDonald's breakfast is't terrible. I'm not gonna lie.
It gives me wicked heartburn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a dude that eats fast food like once every 3 months, but
yeah. If we're talking about actual big chains, Wendy's isn't bad. I've had some decent stuff at Wendy's.
Are good.
Yeah. We were actually giving a lament to Long John's the other day.
Long John Silver's is my go-to.
Yeah, and it's gone. We call Long John Silver's is the Radio Shack of fast food.
LJS and Radio Shack are hand in hand on the same level.
Like, it's not officially gone, but there's like one per state
You'd
now.
have to look to find one.
And it's just it's just ran by the most interesting people.
Yeah, I went to one, and I'm not going to say what town, and they had a baseball bat holding the sliding glass thing, the sliding glass window. They just had a baseball bat wedged in there. And the lady took my order while holding the baseball bat on her shoulder. Because
smart lady.
I thought it was awesome.
Well, it is a pirate-themed restaurant.
Yep.
So I'm trying to think of anyone. I used to really like KFC back in the day when they were still Kentucky Fried Chicken, but Subway can be pretty good if you get a good one.
Yeah, if you get a good one.
One that Jared never visited.
If you could bring one of those back, or I'm sorry, if you could bring one discontinued menu item from fast food restaurant, or if you could bring one back, what would it be?
I don't know specifically, but over the years, Hardee's has had some really damn good burgers, and the best ones always go away. And so any of those really good Hardee's burgers.
I'm gonna go with Hardee's as well. That's exactly what.
Man, they had some burger combos, it just they hit.
It's going to be the first shots out of the Galil Gen 2 Ace 8.3.
7.62 by 39.
Here we go. You're a pro. What a cannon.
Yeah, if you're asking if me and the camera felt it, we did.
Whoa.
We did.
All right, William Sharp. What are your thoughts on the ATF's pistol brace decision verbiage regarding the surrender or destruction of AK-AR, Strabog, etc. pistols, even if they were never sold?
Yeah, and luckily that was already repealed. Like, that was a I knew when it was publicized around that they misspoke, because that was stupid. So that's luckily already been drawn back since that whole kerfuffle. But it goes to show you they don't know, and that's what's going to actually help us.
Just hold tight, you know.
Yeah.
I think
the more they flip-flop and change their mind, the more it makes their case look crap in court.
And the higher up it goes, it seems like what Misha said earlier, it favors on we the people better than it does the gubbies. So
yeah, it's just, yeah. So, yeah, I understand why you asked it then, but yeah, that luckily has been struck down. But, not to get too blunt, but we're just keeping on like we've always had around here.
Definitely. He also goes on to ask a separate question. I have a few more questions for you. What is your opinion on the new Palmetto State Armory STG-44?
Don't know. I haven't shot one or even handled one yet. I'm not going to form an opinion based. And I will say Palmetto talks like they're going to make a lot of things, and only about half ever come to market.
Yeah.
That's not to say it's a bad thing, but I've heard rumors, and it's probably true that they pretty much took it from HMG, that is totally coming out any day now. Jay and I were talking about that back in 2014, but guys, I've talked to it. I don't. If you're going to do an STG-44, do it. Don't try to make it a modernized gun.
Nah.
That's called a G3. That's a modernized. It's
You're
just
going to 44.
yeah. No one's buying it to shoot 300 blackout or put a collapsing stock on it. That's just doofy.
Yeah, leave it as is.
So yeah, PSA, please do one. There's a lot of interest. Even I own an original. I'd love to buy one just as a shooter, but make it as close to original as is practical. I know it's not going to be 1-to-1. It shouldn't be. If you want to use an HK trigger group because that original is a clockwork nightmare, cool.
Clockwork nightmare.
It's horrible.
No, you're right.
Heck, even if you want to redo it in 7.62 NATO, or excuse me, 7.62 by 39, just so it's a cartridge people can get, because who has 8mm Kurs? That's cool. I'd permit that, but that's about as much as I'd want to update it.
Good answer. Good question. How do you think the recent Hungarian FEG SVD will compare in collectability in regards to the Russian Tiger?
So the Sega?
Russian Tiger.
Oh, I thought you said Sega.
No, I just tried to give it a little for you.
Probably better, honestly, because the Tigers that came in, specifically the Tigers, all had 20-inch barrels. These are coming with the proper 23, whatever, 24-inch barrel. Also, because the Tigers came in at a time when people bought them as more shooters and corrosive ammo was everywhere, man, a lot of the Tigers are rough. Even the ones that look externally good, check the gas system in the bore, because a lot of them had corrosive run through them, so they're getting a little ratty today. Not all. There's still nice ones, but whereas these HD18s, they're coming out at a time when people know about corrosive, and there's not as much corrosive 54R available. So, and I think people will years to come respect them for what they really are. And yeah.
Cool. That was a good question. And
by the way, you did get to shoot the HD18 recently, so
yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. We'll I don't know if we have any footage yet. Well, we haven't done the video on it.
Nah, just it was out because we were shooting the Mosin and thought I'd throw it in there too because you're at A54. But might even ask someone to do a guest appearance for that video who recently picked up. I have talked to people that have recently picked up the HD18 and they seem happy with them. And it's kind of fun that most people buying these aren't buying them as resale guns or even collectors. Most people are buying them as shooters, which is fantastic.
That's what it's
That's what they're meant to do, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Dragunov prone.
Not my target now. Open. Cool. Let's pick it up with Scott Yoshimura, which is awesome because I used to run those exhaust systems on all my CBRs. Just noticed that. Maybe that's your last name, I don't know. What is the best value on the market today for a commercial AK pattern rifle available in the good old US?
Yeah, since he said commercial and is kind of emphasizing USA, you know, we're thinking like PSA, all that stuff.
PSA, KUSA.
You know, my choice is probably going to be Kalashnikov USA. I know they're based on the Russian, but let's be honest, they're building it for a commercial market.
Yeah, they seem to have a little bit more of a reputation for reliability than Palmetto State does. You know, it seems like KUSA kind of
It's just personal experience. They just, yeah,
Yep.
and they had a bit of a boop last year. From what I've heard, could be totally wrong, probably am. It seems like they've tightened their QC, did a little shake up. A few people have left. They've at least seemed to acknowledge the errors of their way. So, and I'm a sucker for that AK-100 series pattern.
Yeah, I really am too. But both pretty good companies. I think so.
Well, PSA's got a lot of variety, whereas KUSA does. And then, of course, there's other companies. I don't even know what Century's doing now. No.
I do like PSA's customer service. The few times I've reached out to them about questions and in-stock stuff, they've always been really quick to get back to me. But yeah, either one of those, I think.
And yeah, of course, just to say for imports, given though obviously WBP is still a thing. Technically, it's commercial, not a military factory. So, take it for what you're. Yeah, it's still kind of tops.
Yeah. Cool. Good question there, Yoshi. Let's go to SB. Will Fox be running any brass 5.56 through the SAM-5 rifle during the testing? Funny you ask, because the last little teaser trailer video we put up, that was all brass through pretty much the first 30 seconds. There's 200 rounds of brass. So we will definitely pick back up on that and run more brass, since we did hear that's kind of what the issue
we kind of went
was.
out and bought some higher NATO spec 62 grain. Sorry guys, part of it is we have a lot of steel. You have more Tula, I have more Wolf. But part of it's just what was available. But part of it is when you test fire a lot of guns, it's what you kind of need to go with. It's
kind of what you need to go with, but also with that being said, once I seen that in the comments, I immediately went out to the local gun store and spent my own money and bought brass. So definitely 250 rounds of brass have been through it.
Actually, let's take a pause there and we'll cut over, because we actually have been, just every time we go to the range, putting a few extra mags through the SAM-5. Here's a clip most recently. Continuing on with the SAM-5. So yeah, we've been doing that, just kind of burning a mag through that and other guns when we go out, and we will be doing a full report once we, I don't know, maybe hit 2,000, 2,500 rounds.
Totally. Great question there, SB. Let's go to Eric Sennert. What does one do when you need something to scratch that AKS-74 side folder itch without spending thousands?
A DeLorean?
I'm thinking the shoes. I want the Marty McFlys. That's what I would do, man. Marty McFlys, drop the money, buy one.
Do you ever miss when the movies would come out like that? They just everyone.
They just hold. They hold on to it.
Kids, adults, grandparents.
Indiana Jones.
Man,
what happened to those?
I think we become too cynical.
I know who it was. Bonnie Rotten.
Don't know, China.
Okay, China or Bonnie Rotten. Anyways, Eric seems to know what he did. He goes, I'll tell you what I did. I bought a Raleigh Defense RAK-74 and put Russian furniture on it. I'd like some thoughts on your guys on the rally defense. Why? Why rally defense?
Here's the thing. That's a 5.45. So
Right.
I kind of get it. There's not a lot of 5.45
True.
options.
True.
Unfortunately, that's because when there have been, like the SAR1, SAR2, Wasser 2, Arsenal SLR 104, they don't sell well.
No.
And
You're right.
and now with the Russian stuff, the supply of ammo is kind of iffy. That said, I love shooting it too.
Right.
In fact, I probably bought my first 5.45 before a few of you were alive. But let's be honest, it's not a heck of a lot of different than 5.56.
Right.
And that's kind of the cartridge that's available, and considering all the loads, like we were just talking about with the SAM 5. But if you want a 5.45, it is kind of a beggars can't be choosers thing.
That is true. That is true. And I wish I could point him in a direction of 5.45 that was something other than
or even
rallies.
another folder, because
Right.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember if PSA did a folder or not. I want to say they did, but then my brain's saying that was in 7.62. I can't remember.
It may have been, but
yeah.
Eric does say, what do I got to do to get a review here? Do I need to send you mine? So, dude, hook us up. I would love to give it a review and shoot that. I'd be curious to see how the rally 5.45 kind of functions.
It's a smaller company. I just do hook or crook, whatever. I've never had an in with them, and they'll make a batch, and then it'll go away. Then they'll make another batch, and it'll go away. And And I'm gonna be 100% honest, because I have my 5.45 imports. It wasn't something that I was chomping at the bit, but if I didn't have those, the story could be very different.
Cool. Thanks for the question, Eric. Let's jump on to Mark P. I'm looking for a good AK gunsmith. Right now I'm interested in debanning, arsenals, refinish, and aftermarket furniture fitting. I live in Indiana, but would be willing to travel or ship for quality of work. Any outfits you'd recommend?
Ship himself or the gun?
I was hoping him. I think it's best to get in one of those. Remember, like on Jurassic Park, the Jurassic dinosaur shipping container boxes?
Yeah.
I watched that as a kid and just assumed that's what you shipped big stuff in.
Wait, you don't?
To be fair, okay.
Yeah. We already talked about Indiana earlier. We need to get Honey Creek to actually start doing stuff, because I would trust him. But as far as the debanning, it's funny you mentioned that, because I'm nearly done debanning that FEG SA85M that's been on the channel before. I decided to, what happened was funny. I put the right furniture on it, easy peasy. Then I went to thread the barrel. That's all I was going to do. But then I got looking at that gas block and how, on the SAR1, they just like shaved the wings off, but the little nubbin is still there for the cleaning rod. And then I'm like, yeah, but they shaved the whole thing off. So I thought, okay, I'm going to replace the gas block. Well, then I looked at the front sight on that gun, and I replaced, and it had the whole thing shaved. Okay, so I ended up doing a whole, like, barrel hardware thing. But it'll be worth it, because it'll look right. And it's fun. The thing about pressing on and off barrel hardware, it can either go, or it will make you curse like a sailor. It just depends how it fits. I've done that. We did that SA93, the Arsenal. If you don't know what you're doing, get a pro to do it.
Right.
Because you don't want to goober up a valuable gun. But it's worth doing.
Furniture fitment on an AK is such a coin toss.
Yes, it is.
I mean, this concrete we're sitting on right now, I've rubbed many of wooden furniture parts on that to get it to fit.
Oh, yeah, if you're going to do a lot of AK work, get a lot of hammers and files.
Files,
That's just
hammers, even a good box blade, because sometimes it's just a little bit of that wood will kind of catch, and you'd be surprised with what a box
splinters,
what a box blade can get you.
I've even had AK wood like swell in the gun, where I had to actually split the wood apart to open it, because it just it got wet or damp, and it just would not come out.
And what may fit on your SAM 5 may not fit on the SAM. Literally the same gun layout may not fit. But usually when I start getting into the metal fabs and stuff like that, I'm looking for either you or a gunsmith.
Yeah, if it comes to like...
You don't want to damage the true heart of the gun. Wood and furniture, sure, but when it comes to barrels...
I'm even a little reluctant to mess with the gas block if I don't have to, because that gas port's not lined up right. That's why I didn't do it on the SAR1.
Well, in all honesty, that's why I didn't put the upgraded piston in the SAM 5 that fixed the deal, because I don't know what is that going to do in 5 years or 2 years.
Well, it kind of invalidates the test. We want to know how it runs.
Right.
But no, threading barrels, I like that.
Threading barrels is good.
It's just a good. It's good to have that accessory.
Very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Good question there, Mark. Appreciate it. Let's move on to Mike S., who wants to know what was the most common Yugo Mauser rifle, the M24-47, M48, or M48A6?
Yeah, the Yugo Mauser series. It's interesting. The original, of course, Yugoslavia didn't exist until after World War I. It was a byproduct. Their very first guns were bought from Belgium, and those were the model 1924s or mod 24s. And then they started building their own under license, more or less, called the M24. But they also got some from Czechoslovakia, the VZ24, that they called the M24A and sometimes the M24C. So as you can see, there's a hodgepodge.
Okay.
Well, after World War II, they tried to update them, but they ended up having 2447, 2452. It's all this. Now, how many of those existed is a little hard to say. I've seen around 750,000 to 800,000, maybe. Hard to say what's counted. But the M48 was them going, enough. We want new guns, not old secondhand guns, updated guns. We're going to make our own, built using features we like from all these guns. So the M48's kind of a combination.
A little hodgepodge?
Yeah, a little bit from the K98, a little bit from the VZ24. That's actually also why it has that weird length of bolt. That comes from the Belgian design. And they started making the original M48 with all machine parts in 1950, but they only made that through about 52. And then they switched over to using some stamped parts, and they kind of upped that in 56, and that's where you get the M48A and B, all that stuff.
Okay.
So I can easily tell you they made more M48As or slash Bs, that later one, than they did the M48. I don't know off the top of my head the exact numbers, but I can tell you that they made about 1,220,000 some odd thousand of the M48 series. So definitely more of those were made than all previous ones. And of those, the M48A was probably the most numerous. But a lot of those M48As were export. But most of the Yugo military used the M48. So that would probably be the most prevalent within Yugoslavia itself, even though a few of them were made.
Cool.
They're just fun. This is stuff to nerd out about. And
yeah.
They're affordable, and they
Right.
still shoot a cartridge you can get.
Right.
8 mil.
Yeah, very, very easy to get into that.
We need to do an
Yeah.
8 mil day.
Yeah, we should. We've talked about that for a little bit.
We
Yeah.
finally did a Mosin day, so.
We did a Mosin day,
Yeah.
and we just need to do a full bolt action day where we sit down and
Yeah.
shit.
SGL 31. That gun never gets old.
It's almost like you shot that one before.
Yep.
Mike also said, any plans to check out a KAC if the opportunity comes up? They're expensive and hard to get a hold of.
I think you just, I don't know.
I would kind of like to. I don't know a whole lot about the Knights Armament, just because I've always picked up other guns and things. But yeah, I wouldn't mind dropping some bread on one. But really right now I'm sitting pretty good on the AR-15 world.
I kind of have to ask. I know that they were the cat's meow in the 90s.
Yeah, but what do they hold up to today?
But with the LMTs and RCWs and MR556s.
Noveski's.
Yeah, even Daniel Defenses. Some
Daniel
of them.
Defense, Wilson
Are the
Combat.
Knights still better?
Yeah.
That's a serious question. I don't know.
Right.
Chris Bartacci, my friend, he likes them, but he categorically says LMT is better. I will say
Right.
that.
And that could be a personal preference,
Could
could
be.
be relationship with the companies. But no, I'm never going to say I'm not interested in checking a gun out. Especially
I never
with
thought I
something-
would even want to shoot, much less own an original AR-10 until I had a chance to pick one up, and then I did, and I love it. But
Well, and the thing about our gun collections is the feelings change. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
we know that.
definitely.
I mean, it can change. You revisit something in 6 months, and it may be your favorite weapon. So
yeah, the FNFS 2000 is a prime example from last
tactical
year.
tuna.
Yeah, I sold one originally and was like, I don't want it. And then for some reason, years later, it now hits with me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Mike also says, what are your thoughts on the SAM 7R 67T? Looked pretty neat in my opinion, but I see that you had it for sale. Wondering if you had plans on a video On this particular model, yeah.
Yeah, and he posted that before we did the video. That's kind of the downside of doing Q&As every few months. You know, if we lived near each other, it'd be easier, but oh well. So you saw the video, you know, honestly, I bought that one thinking I might want to keep it because I like.
Well, and I even told you that I kind of wanted to keep it, if not. But yeah. I just wish there's the video explains it all, but I wish the things that Misha said in the video, even from the adjustable buttstocks, just little features like that, it was a little more appeasing to the parts.
I wish they did more to make it into a military, like look at the Sam 7 SF, the folding. They gave it the left side selector, they gave it the 24 mil birdcage mount, they gave it the folding stock. All I had to do to make it into AR-M9F clone, put on the right handguards and pistol grip. I couldn't do that with the 67T. Even
from a non-collector's side, like myself, I don't have to have military perfection. I want it more to me. But what is that appealing to in the civilian side of things? There just wasn't the features to me that it looked like it was worth building up. Part of the reason because you just couldn't, you know. Yeah, I don't know what you'd really do with it because some people asked in the comments of that video, can you just pull that stock off and put a standard? No, they had to modify the tanks. Should have been the most thing. And I'm an Arsenal fanboy, but that just, I wanted to like it as much as you did. And it just wasn't speaking.
I tried. Yeah. Now, I think if they'd given it the AR-M5 top rail, or at
just
least
a little,
the quad rail handle,
something that could appease to the collector or the shooter, just something.
It's missing.
It is. I feel like it was a rushed deal that Arsenal said, here you go.
Yeah, they had them that just did something.
Yeah, like, hey, look, we did something, and I own almost all my
I want to point something out, too, since he mentioned me selling it. Guys, here's what I do. This channel isn't for advertising Ozark Bear Arms. This is Mishaco.
Right.
I did not post that video
to sell that.
Well, I actually didn't post the video until after the gun sold.
Right.
Because I didn't want there to be any conflict of interest. And the guy bought it. I hope he loves it.
Right.
Cool.
Well, there's guns that I bought from you that you didn't particularly like. There's a market for probably everything, and I think your long-term followers here on the channel know you don't advertise the gun store or want that. But for you new guys that are coming in here, just know that this is separate. I mean,
probably he was an NBA star, and he's like, "Damn, finally a gun that'll fit me."
I mean, man, you would have to have some long-ass arms to make that work.
AMD 65.
Antagonist. He says you have a lot of carbines made up to 16 inches with barrel extensions. Do you have any SBRs? If so, how do you choose which one to SBR versus which one to put a barrel extension on? I mean, that's kind of, I'll let you go, and I know how I want to answer that as well. So
first off, I'll say if you want to SBR something, which is fine, I actually think it's kind of cool because it takes me back, because when I was a little kid, you could get a full auto. Like, you could go get a full auto Thompson or a semi-auto.
This was back in black and white TV too, by the way.
And honestly was. At least
Andy Griffin.
Well, you know, back then what happened is usually the living room TV was color, but the bedroom TV
was black and white.
That was the black, because that used to be the old living room. It got bumped back there.
And it was the one that at about 11:30 at night,
you had to bonk it. You had to like do the Fonz move on it, and the rabbit ears.
And the waves would come through, so you had to bonk it again. Anyway, sorry about that. Go ahead.
So what was it? Oh yeah.
How do you know which one's the SBR?
People, you know, you could get a full auto or not, and a lot of people still opted to get the semi because they didn't want the $200 stamp. Cool.
Right.
If they ever close the registry for SBRs, they'll be like the next thing. So I definitely think it's a good thing if you want it. But realize
if you plan on keeping it, then you're gonna have a hard time selling it, and you're out the money.
You're effectively marrying it. It's not the $200; it's the fact that it is registered to your name. It takes 6 months to get.
Well, and also go back to pretend your gun's a tool that it is, and what's its use? Are you going to have this as a truck gun? Are you going to be set up for home defense? Are you going to want a backpack with it? There's some of my guns that I know I'm going to keep forever, like my Scorpion, CZ Scorpion. I like it to be SBR'd, but you know, a couple of my MP5s, I like a pistol brace or nothing, because they're good for a compact console or backpack. But
for me, one gun that I knew I'd be SBRing the minute it came out was the Mini Brill. It needs the stock. It needs the foregrip.
CZ Bren was one.
Yeah, the Bren too. It just needs it. It's not a hard and fast rule, but kind of what I go by is the 12-inch rule.
Yep.
If it's if the gun barrel is over 12 inches, I'll just put an extension on. Like the AMD 65 is a good example. It looks pretty good. Usually an extension doesn't look bad on them because 12-inch barrel, then you have a muzzle device that's 1.5, 2 inches. You're not that far off. A couple of inches isn't. You notice it's extended, but it's not egregious.
Right. And then there's some guns that just, to me, don't work SBR. Like, kind of like the CZ Micro Scorpion. You know, when you SBR it to me defeats the purpose. So I kind of go back to what Misha said, but also think about what's the use of the gun. Is it plinking? Is it home defense? Is it backpack?
And
survival?
I would be very careful about using a registered anything in a defensive shooting.
Yeah,
a defensive tourney, they're gonna rip you up.
That's one thing that even since being around you for all these years, my guns that are really keeping the thump goes nuts are like a flashlight. No red dot, no fancy stuff, no big mag. I'm talking like the 10-round mag, the most base as you can get.
Yeah, and I'll say too, under 12 inches, like 10 to 12 is kind of that iffy zone. That's just like the Bren 2 was a call because it's an 11-inch barrel. I had to make it because I'll SBR it if I really love the gun.
Right.
Under 10, especially if this arm brace thing sticks, which I don't think it will, but if it does, you're going to have to SBR it.
Right.
Like a SIG 553 SB. You gotta have a stock or something on it. It's just
not gonna work, man.
No.
It's not even pleasurable to shoot. You're not gonna be able to plink or hit targets or really for that matter use it for what it could need to be used for.
Even pistol calibers, like if you pick up an old Uzi pistol from IMI, even though the thing weighs like a brick and it's just shooting 9mm or 45, it still wants to do this weird twisty thing in your hand.
Man, it's such a bummer that we have to SBR some of these because essentially that's what makes the gun safer. You know, it's kind of like the suppressor. It's like the one thing you need for life is your hearing or your safety, and you have to go through such steps to get it. It really is a bummer, but thankfully we still have
I just think we should just make those classed as pistols. So over 21 fine.
Over 20,
16-inch barrel's a pistol. Who cares if it has a stock or not?
Right.
That's it.
I do have a question, and maybe someone on the Patreon does. What if you pin and weld a suppressor on a pistol?
You can do that.
And it would count?
It would count. It would still be you should still pay a stamp for the suppressor.
Of course, but you wouldn't have to do the pistol brace deal or SBR.
But of course your suppressor is stuck on there, so
it could
if
fail.
If you got one, you'd want one you could take like the core out of.
Of course, yeah.
Leaving the shell on the outside. Yeah, but no, you can do that. People have done it.
Cool.
People have done it.
People are strange.
Oh, and one more thing I wanted to say. Like my old build guns, like my Stens and my PPSHs, those kind of rattle trap conversions using parts kits, I don't really SBR those because those are just for fun guns and I don't want to be married to them.
Yeah.
And they look terrible with braces. So usually with those, if I can, it's either I pin the stock folded or I just live with having a 16-inch barrel.
Yeah.
But they're still a lot of fun.
Cool. Antagonist also would like to follow up with, do you know what the difference is between the original AUG and the AUG A1? Does the name change correspond with the addition of the roller on the bolt carrier?
Nope. I know what you mean though. The original AUG didn't have the little roller on the back of the top of the bolt carrier. That was added for better full auto fire. It doesn't really matter in semi, but it's there. So you're right that they did that, but that didn't constitute a name change, nor did like changing the firing pin and some other minor things. Nope, the AUG was never the AUG. It was always the AUG A1. That's the export name. For the Austrian military, it was the STG 77, but it was the AUG A1. And not every country starts off with name and then adds A1 for the second variation. Like, look at Britain. The L1A1, their version of the FAL, that was always its name. I'm trying to think of other ones, but well, in the Bren, the 805, it was the 805 A1 Bren was the original. So a lot of people, A1 is the first iteration. And if you think about it, even in the USA, and I know the M16 is a thing, but the M16A1 was the first adopted name. On the other hand, like the M9 Beretta, that was adopted. The M9A1 came much later, and so it just different countries have their own naming conventions. So, nope, there's no difference. The AUG is the AUG A1. Yep.
Or A3.
Yeah. Well, I like the A2. That came out in the 90s.
That was your deal. That was the first one I shot. Was your A2?
And it was because one thing even back when I thought was weird about the A1 was your optic was integrated into your receiver.
It just didn't quite tickle the fancy. But this was a 1970s gun.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
and, you know, it saved weight, but if your
Right.
optic went out, you had to chunk your receiver.
you're chunking your receiver.
But the A2 fixed that by making
Yes.
your optic unboltable.
I love the AUG. I love my A3, but I'm of that generation of attachments and new school.
Yeah.
Got
Oh,
just
the
enough
A3 's
old
great,
school, and but also have the.
But we had to wait
additional.
till like, I don't know, 2004 or something for the
Yeah.
A3 military to hit.
Yes.
Like 2012
and then come to
for it to come
civilians.
here. Yeah. So
Such a cool.
for a
gun.
long time, the A2, or at least the USR, which was the version we had, it's pretty tight. I love the AUG.
The AUG has became very dear to me. It was one of my first guns I got from you on the new things you got in a few years ago,
And you promptly spray painted it.
I had to, man. It
Wow,
just
okay.
it just looks so good, so well balanced. And that kind of goes back to SBR stuff. Is they didn't get a bullpup.
Yeah,
My
I really
favorite,
do think if the brace thing sticks,
Oh, bullpups!
and
The
bullpups are
Tavor,
about
the
to go way
Hellions.
back up in
Yes.
value.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to snag. If you've ever wanted
Yeah.
an AUG, get one now, because the little chance at that brace deal, I think AUGs are on sale for a very fair price
They
right
are,
now.
yeah,
and
they're-
the Tavor, I just seen a base for like $1,200
Yeah.
or something. So
Both of them.
kind of goes to the.
Tavor, AUG, we got the Hellion. I think it's starting to come down. Alrighty, guys, on YouTube here, appreciate you hanging out. There's a somewhat longer version over on Patreon. If you're a Patreon supporter, buck it up a month. You can ask questions for the next one. We'll probably do it around the 4th of July, give or take.
Yes.
Maybe even have a guest star or two, but we'll see how everything goes. Hopefully by that point, the brace nonsense is settled in court.
Under the bridge.
Under the bridge, under the water, out to sea. We'll see. If not, yeah, buy stock and bullpups. But appreciate everyone tuning in. If you could, like, share, subscribe. What?
I just thought of a joke when you said sea.
Oh, God.
I want to tell you, what's the pirate's favorite word? A lot of people think it's the sea, but it's actually R. Anyways.
Boomer. All right, guys, we appreciate it. And yeah, we're out here. Our lunch break's about
Beautiful
up,
day.
so we better get to our thing and stay tuned for some channel news. This is Misha.
This is Fox.
Catch you very soon next time.